Welcome back. Guy Joseph was questioned as to why it is so imperative that the public sector sacrifice to keep the country afloat. Questions have been asked about the financial stewardship of the current administration and why is it that we are in such a tight financial spot at this juncture. During a press conference on Thursday, Minister Guy Joseph stated that governments have always had very little wiggle room on this matter and that the difference between covering public sector salaries and meeting debt commitments has always been too close for comfort.
This is not a new phenomenon because this government is in power, Every month, that is how the Treasury operates. Money is coming and you pay based on what comes in. That is the reality. So when the Prime Minister, when we just came into government, said the country is broke, people didn't understand.
Joseph rebuffs comments suggesting financial mismanagement on the part of the government. He explains that the revenue intake of government during this UWP administration increased significantly.
When we came into government was collecting on average between $70 and $80 million a month. That is the revenue intake of government. For the 3.5 years in government, when, as of this time last year, April or end of financial year, we were up to $110 million of earnings a month. So the economy had grown sufficiently where we were collecting close to $30 million more per month. And remember, that is against the backdrop of having dropped VAT from 15 to 12.5%. Our revenue intake. So this has nothing to do with the management of this government of the economy.
Joseph says the government has to meet both its debt commitments and be able to pay salaries at a time when revenue collection has been cut by about 50%. Managing cash flow, he says, is imperative, hence the need for the cooperation of public sector workers to accept 50% of their salaries in bond payments. As she provided some insight on the current standing of the health sector, Minister for Health Mary Isaac underscored that unfavorable circumstances have prevailed as a result of meeting the demands of the COVID-19 response efforts. Isaac went on to provide an update on the St. Jude's project, which she says, once completed, will be a great accomplishment under her belt as health minister, second only to the opening of the OKEU hospital.
According to Minister for Health Mary Isaac, numerous projects currently being undertaken by the Ministry of Health have been purposely halted in order to redirect resources in support of COVID-19 response efforts. She believes though this has been a necessary move by her administration, it will have long-term implications on the health sector, particularly in the case of primary health care, until rehabilitation and retrofitting efforts can continue at community facilities.
When we speak about improving primary health care, we are talking about a very large budget, okay? And as you know, with the onset, we are not blaming everything on COVID, but when it comes to health, we have a lot to blame on COVID because it has really stopped us in our track. The healthcare budget has really taken a beating as a result of COVID. It has increased by $32 million because of what is happening right now. So a lot of what we intended to do in primary care will have to wait for a little while. However, we have the loan from the World Bank, and that is really going into primary care. So the works are going to continue, but not as quickly as we would have liked them to, because, we had to refocus.
Isaac says work continues on the St. Jude site, and she is eager to meet projections for a reopening in time for the next general election. She says if this projection is met, it will be one of her greatest successes as health minister, second only to the commencement of operations at the OKEU hospital.
We came in and we found the way to open it. We found the money to open it. We're talking about the taxpayers' money.
Albeit under pressure.
That is right.
Okay.
But we found ways and means of opening it. And now we have to find ways to continue to run it and manage it.
Isaac noted, though the conditions which have led to the opening of OKEU Hospital were not as planned, and the hospital does not have the capacity to meet the demands previously sustained by the Victoria Hospital, the government must move forward with operations and build on the hospital as time progresses. Jacques Whitting, Hot 7 News.
One of the largest sectors impacted by COVID-19 is the education sector. For the first time ever, students at all levels are being tutored virtually for an entire school term. Teachers have also been forced to retool and upskill to embrace the technological change brought about by e-learning.
Desolate. Definition: a place deserted of people and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. The spirited, rambunctious sounds of children replaced by the quiet chirping of birds at midday on what should have been a regular school day. The Castries Comprehensive Secondary School, CCSS, like many other schools on Island, the region and the wider world, is living out this new normal of virtual learning. But how are teachers and students coping? Principal at CCSS, Marva Daniel, explains.
It has been a challenge, but an exciting one. In every crisis, there's opportunity. For me, and of course, every principal knows what works best for them. We have embraced Moodle as our learning platform, and we have ensured that our students access the school's email account.
She said 90% of CCSS students were able to connect online from the commencement of the school term, but 10% have not connected virtually, and so the school has been tasked with reaching them.
We have not, of course, been able to access every single student, and there are various reasons why. And it's not necessarily technology, lack of devices, internet access, and so on. There are some students who are just plain blank, not interested. They have to be, coerced. They have to be, pushed more. And so the support of parents in this situation or throughout this journey has been pivotal. They play a very vital role in ensuring that students remain excited, remain educated, and remain focused.
CCSS parents Gloria Dorius and Cipriana George endorsed the e-learning measures taken by the Ministry of Education and the school.
I'd like to thank the teachers of the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School who went above and beyond the call of duty to ensure that our children transition to homeschooling.
It's been challenging being housebound with not one, but two very opinionated teenagers. But we've always believed in this household that it is better safe than sorry, so we're staying indoors, spending time with each other, and ensuring that we practice social distancing when we do venture out, so as to ensure we minimize the spread of this disease.
The principal stressed that greater family and community support is needed to allow more students to join the e-learning platforms.
Essentially, it is important for persons to appreciate what we have now and stop the complaining and whatever, but see how we can make it better. As I said to parents, you may have a phone, your child may not have one. Allow the students to use your phone. It's just for a little while. Your relatives may have the devices that they need. Let us share with one another so everybody can get access.
Daniel said, this COVID-19 situation has caused unexpected productivity gains and a positive residual benefit for both teachers and students via the e-learning platforms.
So teachers are now upgraded, they're upskilled, and they are now able to use so many different platforms. And so our students are now a digital student. We're not just a CCSS student. We have revolutionized teaching and learning, and our students, based on what they have been saying, are loving it.
And as the corridors and lunch tables of every educational institution, like CCSS, beckon for renewed activity, COVID-19 has ushered in a new realization, that of e-learning. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Sports and weather are coming up after the break.